order the Public Safety and Judiciary Committee for February 17th, 2001. It is 5:36. We'll call to order the roll call. I am here. Mr. Booker.
Present.
Mr. Lindmark.
Present.
Mr. Neighbors. Ms. Gorel.
Present.
Mr. McCarthy.
Present.
And Ms. Red.
Present.
Okay, we do have a quorum. Absent is Mr. Neighbors. Mr. Thompson, anyone signed up to speak tonight?
No, Mr. Chairman, just members of the Crime Commission. They'll speak later.
Excellent, thank you. So I'll forego that. If it's okay with the committee, I would like to move the Crime Commission report to the latter half of the meeting. And that way we just have more questions. If there's no objections to doing so, then that's what we'll do. Our first ordinance is Animal Services amending section 14-116, the fee schedule. And I would imagine Mr. Frazier is here to speak on that.
Yes.
I'll make a motion to move that. And I need a second by Ms. Gorel. All right, items on the table. Mr. Frazier, if you could enlighten us on what the fee schedule and what the changes are.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The amendment to ordinance would essentially focus on two areas. One, both pretty simple. The first, currently county code, when determining eligibility for residents who qualify as low income, requires us to utilize WIC eligibility standards. That often results in residents needing to assemble documents to prove the number of persons in their household, all the income in that household, and then we verify that back against public WIC standards. What we're proposing in this amendment is to change the ordinance to simply adopt the language of state statute, which addresses the same low income qualification for animal related programs. And that would essentially change the language to low-income residents who are eligible for the food stamp program or Social Security disability benefits program. The easiest way to prove that, of course, would be to show that you're approved for those services. It would streamline things for us, but it would also make things much more simple for the residents seeking to take advantage of low-income programs, such as the low-income spay-neuter voucher program. The second item in that same amendment would be to adjust the dog adoption fee rate. That fee has not been adjusted in many years. It currently is $110. This would adjust that fee to $150. And that was anticipated when we did our fiscal 21 budget in order to bring in some additional revenue to the department. We don't believe that will have a detrimental impact on adoption pace or adoption numbers. And so those are the two basic changes that we would be addressing with this amendment.
Excellent. So Mr. Frazier, so the streamlining of the ordinance and changing that language would definitely make your jobs a lot easier at Animal Services when you have to go through and verify this information. Is that correct?
Definitely, and equally important, it would make it much easier for residents who often have to get guidance from staff, go back and attempt to collect documents, come back to verify that they've got it. It's just a hassle.
Yeah, it sounds like a process that takes probably just not a couple of days, but probably a little bit longer. Huh?
It definitely does.
Yeah. Excellent. All right. Any questions from the committee? Just go ahead and sound off. I can only see a select number of you with all the people here. So,
Mr. Frazier, I have a question. When you're talking about low-income families having an animal, I see where it says, about being on the food stamps and Social Security disability programs. There's many of us who are actually senior citizens who only live on Social Security. Would it not be better to be asking for an income tax return so that you could determine truly who is low income?
Yeah. So I always make this an excellent question. And I always make the point that there are folks who qualify as low income for these programs. And then there are many other folks who probably are on either low income or limited income, or at least a fixed income, who probably also could and should be able to access some low income qualified benefits like spay neuter voucher program. What we are looking at in this year is trying to further modify and target these sorts of low income or fixed income programs so that not only can we provide them to more people, but it's more sustainable for the department. Remember, the department operates on the revenue that we bring into the department. And so this low income spay neuter voucher program is a money losing program right now. On our budget, we spend more than we bring in. We think with some future modifications that we'll bring to the committee, we'll be able to flip that, which will allow us then to expand the reach of the program. But for right now, unfortunately, it is something that would be restricted to just those folks who are the lowest of the low income.
Thank you.
Excellent. Any other questions from committee members? All right. Just one more question I had, and your adoption fee from 110 to 150, that pretty much puts us in line with other agencies, Noah's Ark and other rescue shelters. Is that correct, Mr. Frazier?
We would actually still be the lowest. Yeah, I know that at least one of those two organizations has a minimum of $175. There will be the lowest, but it will bring us more in line. Yes.
Excellent. Thank you. All right. Any other questions from committee members? Hearing none or seeing none. All in favor?
Mr. Chairman.
Ms. Red, yes, please go ahead.
I have a question. I thought I heard Ms. Goral said they need to show income tax statement or something.
Nope, they just have to show.
Some people don't have an income, don't file, the income taxes. So I was just,
What I was suggesting, what I was referring to actually were people who only have perhaps Social Security, and even though they don't file, they still can have proof by bringing in their Social Security award to show them what their income is.
Yep.
Okay, I understand now.
Yep.
Thank you.
Perfect. All right. Any other questions from committee members? All right. Hearing none or seeing none, all in favor of the amending the services ordinance, section 14-11 fee schedule, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, hearing none, the measure passes. The ordinance is passed. Thank you, Mr. Frazier. Appreciate it. If you can stick around, we'd just like a little update at the end on where we're at with the animals. If you can give us just a quick update, I appreciate it. Thank you. All right, moving on. We're going to skip F and put that in the rear, and we're moving on to number G, which is a pre-approved reimbursement for court technology upgrades. Mr. Thompson, I don't know if you were speaking on this or.
Sure. Tom Jakeway is also in attendance. He can speak to it as well. These are actually two grants for COVID relief in the courts. One is for $268,418 for court network and phone upgrades in the court system. And then there's a second grant for some HP tablets, approximately 25 tablets and licenses. These are COVID relief dollars granted to the courts for the ability to continue to work remotely. It's fully reimbursable. These are dollars that are being granted to the court system, and Tom Jakeway has worked diligently on this, and he is present in the meeting to answer any questions. This will actually be in front of the Finance Committee tomorrow evening because it technically is a budget amendment, and so The Finance Committee will hear these tomorrow evening and then advance them to the county board. But we just wanted the Public Safety and Judiciary Committee to be aware of these as well. And Tom, did you want to add anything in addition to that?
Yeah, that's exactly right, Patrick. I wanted to have the chance to bring some good news to this committee when I can. I might not always have good news, but here we had a chance to apply for some dollars, which would be good for the courts, good for our community. We're going to make some great upgrades to the technology we have, our internet capabilities, computers, microphones. Really wanted to add a thanks to Gus Gettner and his department, as well as to Patrick and your partnership in making this happen. We're really excited about it and just wanted to share this positive news with everyone on the committee tonight.
Thanks, Tom.
Excellent. Thank you. So, Mr. Thompson, is this something that we have to take action on, or is this
No.
just for? Okay.
No, you don't have to take action on it. The Finance Committee will actually advance the budget amendment, but we just wanted your committee to be briefed on it.
Right. So it is a budget neutral action. Okay. Excellent. All right. Any questions from the committee on this? Hearing none or seeing none, we will
Booker?
move on. Oh, sorry, who was that?
Mr. Booker.
Go ahead, Mr. Booker.
Thank you, Chairman. Do you see me?
I can't.
No, but I
see
can.
Why?
I think everybody else needs me. I'm asking if the chairman can see me. I just wanted to add kudos to Tom Jakeway and his staff. I mean, it's just for my entire time as chairman of the Public Safety Committee, it was nothing but good news as your staff has applied for these grants, Tom, for sexual assault, the victims of sexual assault and domestic violence. It just continues. So, man, what a hat tip to you guys. So thanks again, Mr. Jakeway. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you too, Mr. Jakeway.
Yes. Thank you, everyone, for those kind comments.
Yeah, Tom does a great job for us. Appreciate it. All right. Any other questions or comments from the committee? All right. Appreciate it. And we will move on to the Winnebago County Crime Commission, Public Safety Commission Strategic Plan for 2020 through 2023. Mr. Thompson, is one person going to kind
Yes,
of
I'm gonna call on Alice Uphouse, who's the chair of the Crime Commission, to introduce members of the Crime Commission, and I think they, as a team, will present the report.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Ms. Uphouse. Yep.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for giving us this opportunity. The Crime Commission has been around since 2003, and we have been working hard over the years to investigate, look in all kinds of different avenues to help Winnebago County to make sure that our Crime Commission meets its goal. And I would like to introduce Karen Liplin. She is the secretary of the Crime Commission. Armando Cardenas is a past chairman, cares about our community like the rest of us do. And by the way, we are a non-paid entity. We just like to dig in and look around and see what we can do. Armando, go ahead and say hello.
Hello, happy to be here.
Yep. Armando's been such a great help. We've partnered together for, I don't know, 10 years maybe. Karen, go ahead with your PowerPoint, please.
Okay. First, thank you for allowing us to present tonight. I just need the help desk to share my screen. Oh, never mind, he did. And it's a brief PowerPoint that the three of us, Jim Knutson was here, but we seem to have lost him. So there it is. Okay. We have developed our strategic plan for 2020 to 2023. And I'm just going to give you a little background about first of all, our vision. The Crime Commission, we are an independent, viable working entity actively promoting and recommending positive systemic change to reduce and prevent crime in the community. Our mission is to collaborate with criminal justice leaders in order to discover ways to reduce and prevent crime, improve public safety, advocate for effective law enforcement, promote an efficient criminal justice system, and annually review county alternative programs. And our strategic plan basically has two focus areas that we decided upon. The first is the 1% sales tax that is designated for alternative justice programs. Our goal with this is to ensure the fair and appropriate apportionment of the portion of the funds collected through the 1% tax, which is to be directed towards alternative justice programs. To do that, our objectives are to first identify the process for the apportionment of the 1% tax for alternative justice programs, and create a transparent process for evaluation of programs and funds allocation, and then evaluate alternative justice programs for efficacy and value. And in order to do this, we have developed several action items. The first is to explore the current process and policy for that portion of the 1% tax for alternative justice programming, and then present our objectives to the Public Safety Committee and the County Board, which you are helping us do tonight. Develop an evaluation process and action steps, and then develop an application tool for agencies and programs to apply for funding from the 1% tax, and then develop an evaluation tool and make the funding recommendations for the 1% public sales tax. And our second key focus area are children and youth. Our goal is to reduce and prevent crime and violence impacting children and youth. And this includes both witnessing and being a victim or somehow being impacted by crime and violence, including child abuse, domestic violence, community violence. Many children witness domestic violence, they witness community violence, they live in violent areas. And so the goal is to reduce and prevent the crime and violence that affects them. Our objectives for this are to increase the awareness of crime and violence impacting children and youth. Honestly, I don't think a lot of people realize witnessing domestic violence, community violence can have a profound effect on children. As they grow, it can affect their development. It can affect, obviously, their school behavior and their behavior overall. And then our other objective is to identify and support evidence-based programs that address crime and violence impacting children and youth. And our action items for this are to collect and publicize the data relating to the impact of crime and violence on youth, support the efforts of law enforcement and other community organizations in building trust between especially law enforcement and the community, and focusing on children and youth. Support the Family Peace Center, especially in their programs for kids, and review community programs addressing crime and violence that impact children and youth, identify and promote support programs which are evidence-based and effective. And that is the extent of our presentation. I think maybe Armando and Alice might have a few things to add to this.
Mondo, you want to go first?
It's up to you, Ellis. You can go
Go
first.
ahead. Go
Okay.
ahead.
Well, yeah, no, thank you. I do maybe at this time I would really like to spend a few minutes just giving you a little bit of historical perspective of how we arrive at our strategic plan. Every 3 to 4 years, we actually get into long discussions. We have a couple of sessions where we look at the issues that are impacting Winnebago County with respect to crime, and then we prioritize which ones we believe that we want to work on. And in the past, we've had a strategic plan that would look at recidivism, the jail population, mental health, and what we do is once we do a study of those issues, we present recommendations through when we produce a letter of recommendations to the county and to your committee and to the county board. And that's what we do. And so this is how we arrived at this one. We had meetings and we thought, what are we going to look at? The reason we look at the present, which is the 1%, is because in the past that was one of the roles of the Crime Commission. Some of you might recall the history, and some of you might not that are new. Back
I can do that,
talk about
Armando.
that. Yeah, there were more members, and the reason it was established. You can talk about that, and one of the main reasons was to have at least look at the expenditures of the 1% sales tax with regards to preventive programs. And there was a portion of that amount of those dollars received from those taxes to be spent and for preventive programs. And that's why we put that as one of our strategic plans, because we want your help. We want to play a role in that, and we need your support. So I wanted to talk about that. That's what I wanted to mention. Thank you.
In the very beginning of the Crime Commission, I was selected by Sheriff Myers at that time and Paul Logley to serve on this commission. And we, each one of the appointers appointed 3 people to serve. And that was when the Justice Center and the jail were being built. And the 1% sales tax, I was part of that decision making, and we wanted to be able to say, here is an excellent alternative program. We would like part of that 1% sales tax to go for that program. We reviewed them, selected several. Carpenter's Place was one in the very beginning, and you know the success of that. As things went along, our Crime Commission was left with not as many members, and we were still working on the same objectives that we have all along. And that's why we really need to be part of the decision-making on where that money goes. People in the community have excellent programs, and we would look at those if we could be a part of that decision-making. Also, those of us that have been serving on the Crime Commission feel that it's an honor, and we are willing to do whatever we can in the community to make our voice heard. I thank the Public Safety Commission at this time, Aaron and Mr. Girl, for allowing us to give this presentation. We think it's viable. We believe that we will make an impact if we are able to be objective and make sure that our voice is heard. Karen did a lot of work on this, and we are very pleased to present it to you this evening.
By the way, Jim Knutson is back. I see. I recognize his phone number there. Jim, do you have anything?
Jim is our treasurer and Karen is our secretary.
Other way around, Alice.
I'm sorry. I'm all right. I had it written
No
down.
problem.
Yeah, Jim's our secretary, Karen's our treasurer. Jim, are you there?
His phone number is.
All right. And if he can't answer, I know you want to move along with your, there's Jim.
It'll take him a minute to dial in and get online.
Okay. Do any of you have any questions?
I see Mr. Lindmark down there does. Yeah, go ahead, Brad.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Not so much a question, but a comment. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for everything you guys are doing for the community. 1%, spending it wisely on programs that'll help, especially the youth. I started a foundation after my brother, Greg Lindmark Foundation, that helps for mental health for the first responders. So I was real happy to hear your part of the focus was on the mental health of the children from witnessing stuff, PTSD or whatever it may be. So great job to all of you. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brad.
Thank you, Mr. Lindmark. Any other questions from committee members?
Yeah, just, oh, I'm sorry, Angie, go ahead if you want.
Hey, Kevin wants to.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, just piggyback a little bit off of what Mr. Lindmark said, and thank you all for being a part of it. You know, myself, Brad, we're the new ones here, so on the county board. So we're getting to know some new faces, who interacts with what and what do they do. And I want to commend you on that because I know it is an unpaid position, but it shows your love and dedication to the community. And I believe now you mentioned with the Carpenter's Place that, well, recently with the Sheriff's Office, they had the 7 students from Rock Valley College learning the CNC machining through that program. Now, were you, did you interface with that at all, Alice, or anyone on the commission? Maybe you could chime in on that, or is that something separate?
I did not. Carpenter's Place was one of the first organizations to be funded by the 1%. And that was why I brought it up. There are many others that were funded in the very beginning. And the Crime Commission was also charged with making sure that all of the items that were going to be taking place, like the jail and the Justice Center. In fact, we named the Justice Center that instead of it all being the jail. We felt that it was important to make the clarification between the 2 facilities. And that was also part of what we were in charge of doing, of keeping track of how the money was spent. It was a big responsibility in the very beginning. I'm truly grateful to have been asked to be part of that. And we have continued over the years to make sure that as best we can, we haven't taken any money or a trip with our $1,000 that we get from the county every year. We haven't gone out to dinner. We have spent it wisely, and that's for our I'm sorry, Karen. I'm thinking so many things. We pay the state a fee because we are a not-for-profit. And we also have a webpage where you can go and see what we are about. We are open to the public. Anytime anyone wants to come and visit. We meet on the 5th floor of the county building when we are not confined to our homes. Hopefully that answers some of your questions.
Alice, thank you very much. And I was an advocate for that 1% public safety tax, and I'm glad to see that it is working out, and that because I'm not one like many to vote for a tax increase, but when it came to that, and also with the mental health, I was all for it. So thank you, and I'm sure you can rely on many board members to provide what you would need.
Now, I said that with tongue in cheek about the money. So you gentlemen are supposed to have a smile on your face.
Sometimes it goes over our head.
Alice, I have a question for you.
Sure.
Do you, when the county finance committee has made adjustments to the 1% tax, has your committee been involved in any of that? Did anyone come to you and show you what they were doing and how they were doing and what they were going to do with the money over the years?
In the beginning, yes, but no to the rest of the part of it. We were included in the beginning when the Crime Commission started, but later we weren't part of that.
Because we started out with 3 million, did we not?
I believe so.
And now we're down to, I don't know, just a little over 1 million or something. The money has disappeared, and no one's ever been accountable for where it went. I also know that part of that part of that money went to the judges. I think we had the one court that Judge Holmberg had that money that supports some of the court, the different court. What I want to say, Aaron, help me.
The mental health court and the youth court. Those are two things that are part of that 1%.
Right. But no one's ever come back and question you about how we spend this money.
No.
The other, is there, I was on your page today and I found out there's no telephone number. If I wanted to call any of you, I found out who you were all on that board, but there was no way of contacting any of you or Crime Commission. And that would have been helpful for citizens, especially since you're involved you're trying to get involved more with the youth, the violence that they experience. Because a lot of times people would call you direct rather than go through some of the other services that they have been through and never got much help from. So it would be nice to have a phone number someplace that they can contact you.
That's a good idea, Angie. I'll add one to it.
Thank you. That would be just great. Karen, if you don't know, she got a real nice award several years ago for being on the violence protection. No, that's not how they said it. How they said it, Karen?
Violence Prevention Collaborative.
Yes, through the health department.
Right.
Did a lot of good work there, but we ran out of money.
Right.
And we always run out of money. That's the big problem. And so it's trying to get things to be sustainable. And so far, you've been sustainable for several years, and we would like to know more, probably, of what things you have accomplished. And that would be a great help to all of us to understand more about what you're doing and what you actually have accomplished over, say, even the last 5 years, whatever.
I finally paid my internet bill and they let me back on. Sorry about that.
The same thing happened to me, Jim.
In response to Kevin McCarthy's question, I just wanted to follow up on the program that the Sheriff's Department machinist program is sponsoring with Rock Valley. We're interviewing one of their first graduates tomorrow at 11 o'clock and look forward to hiring them. So kudos to both of them for putting a great program together, and we really need to support that kind of stuff.
You know, it was a little over a month ago, back in December, I guess, is when we took the tour and saw the CNC machining, and I've dealt with the manufacturing side in another life, that you could say. So a job like this and its education like this, it can be so beneficial, especially when you're rehabbing, let's say, some of the bad ones that now want to do good for their community and make a career out of themselves and contribute back. So thank you, Jim. I appreciate your input on that.
Okay.
Jim, tell them where you work. That might.
Yeah, I work at Rockford Acromatic. I think, Kevin, you know Lowell Ingram.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, I work with him and been there for about 30 years. So a little bit of a job hopper, but I think finally passed the probationary period.
Oh, great, Chair. Well, I'm looking forward to meeting you and everyone, all of the other ones that are part of the committee in the near future. So thank you.
Great. Yep.
Excellent. Mr. Booker had a question.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. I know there was a lot of tweaking that occurred prior to my my arrival on the county board, and that was during the Christensen administration. There was a lot of tweaking that went on, and I think that was one of the main reasons why I got on the board was to keep an eye on the 1% public safety sales tax and find out what was going on, how it was being handled or mishandled, and to start to bring the crime commission to the forefront again. The last administration, we started to pick up a little bit on it, but we didn't move forward fast enough to my liking. And now I'm very, very encouraged and optimistic with Mr. Thompson on board on the county board now and partnering with Mr. Rickards. I was just curious if Mr. Thompson's had a chance to look at it, to look at the genesis of the public safety sales tax, how it was tweaked, maybe properly or improperly, and what we can do. Mr. Thompson, do you see any promising things that we can move forward on with this public safety sales tax?
Well, I know that we're in the process of preparing a report for the full board on the 1% safety tax, but I'm not sure exactly when what you're referring to, Mr. Booker, in terms of how it was tweaked or changed, but I would like to dig into that a little bit more, but we are in the process of presenting a full report to the county board on this matter.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I know that some of my senior board members, like Miss Red, Miss Gorel, perhaps Mr. Girl can enlighten, but there was I don't know about tweaking, but maybe a stranglehold. We've got a hold placed on with bond issues and such, so we're only allowed to get into it so much, and I was just uncomfortable with it. So maybe this upcoming informational report that's coming out will help me. We'll get some light shed on it.
The hope is to shed some light on it, like you say.
Mhm.
Thank you, sir.
Could I add or make a comment and then a question, Mr.
Please.
Chairman?
Please do.
That's why we put that in the strategic plan for this year, because through the years, we as a crime commission have always wanted to play a part in looking at the what they call the programs of prevention and programs that are not just for incarceration, or it would be some prevention. And so when we looked at the alternative budget, and it said when the original referendum was passed, obviously there's financial restraints now and budget restraints, but we always thought that it would be our role to at least take a look at what dollars are being spent for our alternative programs. And we historically have been asking for those numbers and reports, and we did not get it. So we still want to be able to, once if that report is submitted, to give us information about, okay, these are the programs that are funding the alternative programs. This is the budget, and that at least be one step that we've always wanted to look at. And then of course the strategic plan calls for us to get a little bit more involved and maybe look at other programs that might help to prevent crime and prevent recidivism and prevent some people from committing crime by providing alternative programs. And that's kind of the whole reason behind that.
As far as we can
Excuse me,
determine,
can I jump in for a minute? I was kicked off and I've missed quite a bit. I have about 3 questions I would like to ask, Mr. Chairman.
Please do.
Okay, the first question, years ago when this commission was put together, of course it was to help the youth. Is there an application? If there was a community organization that would like to apply, and I'm talking to the Crime Commission people about this, is there an application?
No.
No,
No.
there used to be, but
There
we
used to be.
haven't been involved in the process in a while now. As
Okay.
far as we know and could determine, the same 3 programs have been getting the funding for a few years now.
And
There's
what are
no
those 3? What are those 3 programs?
Remedies, Rosecrans, and
Rick.
And
which
who?
one? No,
This
not
is-
including Rick. Apparently, from what I gathered, Rick is in a separate category or something. It's
So
Tommy
Remedy-
Meeks. It's Tommy Meeks's program, whatever. I can't
That,
remember the name
that
of
program's for adults. What has been given to the youth?
it. That we're aware of, nothing.
Okay, okay.
And there is no app. Nothing goes through us as far as the 1% tax right now. It used to, but it does not anymore.
Okay.
And that's what we want to bring back, is to have an application process for different organizations.
Okay. My last question, do you know how much is in the 1% budget?
No,
That's what we want to find out. That's what we want information on.
we've been trying.
Okay, how can we help them, guys?
Well,
The
we're
committee?
Dorothy, we're gonna put together a report, and I will make sure I share it. You know, once it goes in front of the board, the county board, I'll make sure I share it with Alice and all the Crime Commission members.
Okay.
That would be very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We have always in the last number of years wanted to be part of the decision-making or recommend and help recommend what we feel would be an appropriate program. And so we are very grateful to Chairman Shirelli for his leadership in this. And Mr. Girl, we cannot thank you enough for allowing us to present this to you tonight. We've always wanted to be recognized as contributing to the well-being of this community. And that's been frustrating over the last number of years. So that's why I wanted to say thank you.
And you're welcome, Allison. Hopefully with this new board, the new chairmanship and our new administration, we can actually work together to actually have these outcomes become reality instead of just a strategic plan that's been worked on for the last 20 years, to actually put that into place and actually have people do the work. So I do commend everything that you guys do. It's a thankless job, and I'm glad that we finally had you come in. I've been on the board for 8 years. This is the first time the Crime Commission, I believe, has ever addressed the board.
Correct.
So I appreciate that. There was a lot of questions out there about what you guys do, how do you do it? So I'm glad we had this chance to actually have this interface and this conversation back and forth. As far as the application process is, I'm sure the chairman, along with our administrator and this committee, will be working diligently here in the next few months to actually bring you back into the fold here and actually have you guys come up with the great ideas that you've had in the past and actually bring those forward in the future. So I appreciate your time and all of what you guys do. It is really, you guys do a lot for our community. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
If I may share the rest of our committee, one is Tiana McCall. She is now out at Rock Valley College. And we have a new member, and that's Reverend Williams. He is now, because we are a 7-member board. So we, all of us come from different backgrounds. Some of us are retired. Some of the committee is still working. So, and we bring each something. Danielle Potter is from the Park District. So our board, I believe, is a dynamic board because we have a lot of different faces and a lot of different ideas, but we all work together in harmony. And to me, that is so important. We're non-political, even though we know who we support and this and that, but we believe we're a viable entity. And like I said, I thank you again.
You're welcome. All right. Is there any other questions from committee members?
Dorothy, we will put together our list of accomplishments and ideas, and that will be on the webpage. Hopefully that'll help you.
That'd be great. And I'm sure we'll have conversations in the future, but I would love to have you guys back at least quarterly
Okay.
to give updates. Hopefully we can stay in touch more often than that. So
I think you have my email address. I sent it to you, so.
I believe I do. And I think I'll work with Mr. Thompson and see if he can get contact information for the Crime Commission and get that dispersed to board members in case they have questions in the future so they can contact you.
We could put a little bio in that on our webpage. That might be a worthwhile project for, we can make up, write up something and Karen can post it on our webpage also.
That'd be perfect. All right. Any other board members? Mr. Booker.
Thank you, Chairman. I just had to insert that as chairman of the Public Safety Committee last year at this time, we were ready to bring the Crime Commission forward to the county board to have them present their report. And COVID hit.
COVID,
Yes.
And
Yeah, no kidding.
everything went to, we didn't know how we were going to do meetings and such. And just as we were about to present it and everything, it all fell apart. So I just want to say we tried last year, but unknown forces threw a wrench into those works. So thanks again. I'm glad we finally got it done though.
Thanks.
And we have presented before the Public Safety Committee before we did our youth violence report. Geez, that's been, I think, 2 or 3 years now, something like that. But
Correct.
we have presented before the committee before, so.
But nobody ever recognized us.
Well, I am new to this
Now
committee.
we have
So
recognition. Thank you.
absolutely. Chairman Shirelli, do you have anything you would like to add or?
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. My short time here as chairman, it was pretty clear to me that the Crime Commission was not being utilized in the capacity that they should be. And so we moved immediately to, one, identify the rules and the bylaws of Crime Commission, because there was a lot of confusion surrounding that, Chairman, about who had authority to appoint and who didn't. So when we finally got that all sorted out, we did make the appointment through the appointing authority members. The chairman is one of them, the state's attorney, the chief judge, the mayor, the sheriff, the mayor of Rockford, the mayor of Loves Park and McChesney Park. So it was clear that that was the appointing authorities. So I've been on 2 of the Crime Commission meetings in the last 2 months, and I assured them that they will get their due respect for being informed in the work they want. It's always important, Chairman, that we have people who want to serve and have the desire to have an impact, and they deserve that. Now, the goal of our administration, we have a lot of silos. We have a lot of different organizations working on similar things. So our goal is for connectivity for the Crime Commission and the CJCC to work together on different items of criminal justice. So that is one of our goals, to have some connectivity here. So to bring back the life to this commission is very important to me. So I'm happy that you allowed this to happen, Chairman.
You bet.
Because it needed to be done. And if people need to know who they are, what they do, what purpose they serve. And I'm very happy that this has occurred tonight.
Yep, absolutely. And if it wasn't for COVID, Mr. Booker would have had this done a year ago.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of things stalled with COVID.
Yes, absolutely it did. But I'm glad we had this
Great
chance,
job.
this opportunity. I look forward in the future working with this Crime Commission and the great men and women that make up the Crime Commission. Again, you guys do a great job. So any other questions from committee members? Hearing or seeing none, I would like to thank all the commission members for taking their evening and spending it with us. I appreciate it. So we will move on to back to the agenda.
Bert,
Yes, Ms. Gorel.
I was on mute, so you didn't hear me. I want to say one more thing, and that's Mr. Knutson. I do hope you encourage other manufacturers to do just what you have done. That is a great big thing, that until our manufacturing, and not just manufacturing, other parts of businesses to start waking up to see that these people need jobs, and that would really cut down on our crime by giving them pride in themselves. So I want to thank you, and I hope you can mentor more organizations to do that. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome. And actually, we did it out of necessity ourselves. We need to hire good workers, and this was a source for us to reach out to. And so it's doing well by doing good, I think, is the expression.
Yes,
Jim,
thank you.
You work with Rick a lot too, don't you, to hire?
Yeah. Tommy Meeks has been great. I can't say enough about the guy. He's helped me on more than one occasion without asking even for recognition or headlines, and terrific guy.
Excellent. All right. Again, appreciate it. Other matters, is there any other matters to come before the committee? Okay. I would like to take a few moments and ask Mr. Frazier if he would, or if he has any updates that he would like to share with the committee, any good news stories out there, the animal services that he'd like to share.
Well, there's always something going on out here. It's a busy place. And of course, we're happy to return to reporting to this committee as well. I think it's been a couple of years that we were under the other committee. And some things have happened in that time period. In March, we'll be coming before the county board, I think, to present our annual report. Just like everyone else, 2020 was different than we thought it was going to be. But in a lot of ways, we rolled with the punches. We tried to be nimble, and we got a lot of good things done. The annual report will speak to that. But in this winter season, we sort of called the summer our busy season, and the winter is when we plan and prepare. There are some big things that we're working on right now. Our new website will launch here in a couple of months. We'll be starting to share some of that detail with the committee here soon, so you can get a sneak peek on that. We are transitioning to a new shelter management software that should make keeping track of everything we do a lot easier, more streamlined, and easier to report on. We are working right now to try and update and professionalize our vehicle fleet so we can provide better service to residents and to animals. And something really cool that we were excited about, we ended up in the last year doing just over 500 adoptions of cats at our PetSmart locations. That's important because it's a good thing to send home animals, but that also means that we qualified for $10,000 from PetSmart charities for breaking that 500 adoption barrier. So you'll recall they had recently given us a $40,000 grant. Add that to the $10,000 plus some other funding that they gave us for some other adoption promotions. Things went well for us at PetSmart locations, and we're excited about the work we've got to do here in 2021.
Excellent. I appreciate it. Any questions for Mr. Frazier? No? All right. Well, I appreciate it, Brett. Thanks for hanging on. Mr. Jakeway, I see you're still on there, but I'm not sure if you're still with us. Just going to see if you had an update from the courts. Thought he was still on, but he might have stepped away. Okay. We'll get him next time. I just like to try to get updates from all of our departments that deal in public safety, just to have them give good stories or any things in the pipeline. So, all right. With that, I guess I will ask for adjournment if there's no other business. Motion to
moved.
adjourn. So moved by Angie, second by Mr. Brooker, Mr. McCarthy, and probably
Voice
most
red.
everyone. And Miss Red. Excellent.